Hey guys, this is Romer45 here. It's been a while since I last made a video, as life has kept me busy for the past couple of months. So what I've been doing is, I've just been doing some research for that time. A lot of stuff involving opiate research, and I'm soon gonna be doing a presentation in a couple of months in the United States. So hopefully it goes well. However, during that time, I've also had to work with a lot of people who happen to have a bit of a liberal mindset. Not to say that they're bad people, although it's still too quick to judge what people's true motives are based on their political views. But so far, I mean, nothing major has happened. Even though I did have a discussion about this with TFM, he pretty much told me to always be a chameleon and just blend in with the environment, but of course not to the point where you officially lose your identity. Also recently, I had an interview for a translational research program at a university in Toronto, and what had happened was they asked me two really weird questions, which made me feel like I was definitely applying for a position which was definitely going to involve a lot of echo chambers and safe spaces, with one of the questions being to tell a story which involves a frog in an airplane. And that right there, like, to me, definitely screamed echo chamber. But luckily I just went with the flow and made up a medical story. I was tempted to involve Pepe the Frog, but even unfortunately, I tend to have a bit of a conservative centrist leaning view instead of a very radical conservative view as well. Another question they had asked me was to take something from what they call a magic box, which was actually just a box with a bunch of toys in it. So again, echo chamber or trigger warning. And what I did was, I just took a camera out, and they first tell me what it is what it is to most people, and then what I view in it. So of course, just more abstract thinking, making up bullshit as I go, and that's pretty much it. So I won't hear anything back for at least another couple of weeks. As well, I'd also celebrated my 27th birthday with my parents, and what I realized is there really is no long-term hope for anything in this world. And I say this after finding out that Putin and Netanyahu are in cahoots with each other in regards to the Syrian war. The proof behind this was that Russia recently refused to sell some S-300 missiles to the Syrians. And then there was the whole Serbia and Israel visiting Putin in Russia to celebrate VJ Day. I mean, it's one thing for opposition leaders to meet, which represents some kind of business, but then when you start hearing about like Putin not selling weapons to Syrians, the same ones where he tried to help them in a couple of over a year ago, it starts to really make me question, what's the fucking point anymore? And it's a shame, because I always thought Putin was an anti-Zionist, but I think it's safe to say that we're all screwed, which is kind of ironic since none of us are safe. Everything we thought we were doing for the greater good was just another form of monetizing the military to pay for our own executions. And then not only that, but by so-called protecting our country and by helping our women and wives, we actually help ruin our own lives. And if there was a God up there, I'd say he would be rather disappointed with us. Because he apparently created life by contraction while blinding his appearance, and it was up to us to see what this life was. Something I learned when I was taking a philosophy class a few days ago. Unfortunately, the globalists have already destroyed life, happiness, and the reason for good people to continue living in this world. And even if we try to do whatever we do to try to fix something without giving in to these to the globalists or the Federal Reserve, the progress always ends up being a circular loop, similar to the one that Sonic goes through. It starts with nothing but a straight line at zero, then the build-up happens in an exponential manner, and then suddenly, when everything is at its peak, it starts going upside down, and before you know it, you crash into the ground, with the results of the line of nothing progressing, and another loop of life progressing, preparing for another cycle of destruction. That's what happened with the Egyptians, the Romans, the Greeks, the British, and the British empires, and now with the US empire. And the only people left to tell the true tale are the survivors, specifically the creators of this mess. Which makes me wonder what the purpose of life has been since I was watching a clip of Duckman when he was in the psychiatric ward, and he was rambling on about how idiots with power have privilege and people who don't. And I remember making a comment on that video stating that there are only two outcomes in life. That you either live life blue-pilled with everything you could ever want at your hands at the price of being either very Faustian or very Machiavellian, and not realizing that people below you have nothing and still be a miserable prick, and then you wonder how you can continue to live with yourself. Or you can choose the latter, to be red-pilled, get fucked in the asshole by 99% of the other people in the world, and when an opportunity passes you by and you take it to become successful, you only realize that there's even more corruption to deal with, and then you end up doing the right thing, only to end up either in jail or dead. Lots of deep shit to absorb, I know, but to me, I've reached the end of the vertical line. The vertical line representing the rabbit hole. And all I can see in this rabbit hole, like at the bottom, is just darkness, misery around me. And if I go one more step further down, I'll be able to feel the infernals of hell take me over and consume me. And no, I'm not religious. Although I still try to keep a bit of an open mind, no matter what. It doesn't matter, as all glory is fleeting, all happiness is short-term, and most people in this world are too focused on themselves to give a shit. And you can't do anything about it. I could try to focus on my life, but you know, it really won't mean anything in the long run. I can come up with the right thing to do to save society, and it's going to end up costing me my life, just like how it happened with Nikola Tesla. I mean, you know what they say, the greatest people in the world are the ones that nobody knows about. But then again, I still have to thank MGTOW for what it's done, for it has really opened my eyes. And the best thing about it is that they don't bow to anybody. I mean, the concept of MGTOW doesn't bow to anybody. There's no cult about it. I mean, people say it's cult-like, but only if you decide to follow like certain groups of MGTOW which are involved in another kind of project which can be associated with a cult. But I mean, the concept itself is not meant to be a cult. It's meant to represent individuality, and you can't put a price on that. And just so anyway, just wanted to update you guys on that, and hope everything else is going well in your lives. And don't forget to share and subscribe, and leave a comment below to tell me what you think of this video. That'll be it for now. Take care.